What is going on, everyone? Let's take a look at the positive side of Idaho. In the past, we've done some positive and some negative videos about Idaho. Whenever I do, I always get comments like, "You just said Idaho sucks, now you say it's great. Make up your mind." Here's the thing, every place on the planet has its positives and its negatives, and then some things that are positive to one person are a negative to another person. I'm just pointing out some of the things you should know before you move there. Number 2 on this list is a perfect example of some people find it as a negative, others find it as a positive. Today we're looking at the bright side of Idaho. Idaho regained the number 1 spot of the most moved to state last year. It had slipped down to number 3 for a couple years, but it's back at the number 1 spot. The gem state has almost 2 million residents right now, and the median household is around $52,000. There's a lot of reasons people are moving to Idaho, and I'm going to explain 10 of them in no particular order right now. Number 10, their economy is booming. Idaho has continued to have a booming economy for more than a few years now, and it doesn't look like there's any chance of it slowing down anytime soon. According to the 2021 U.S. News Best States ranking, Idaho doesn't just have the number 1 spot for people moving there, they also have the number 1 spot for economic growth and 4th for fiscal stability. So things look good for their future. Even during the pandemic, they're one of the least affected states when it comes to work, workers, unemployment, and all that stuff. Compared to the state's cost of living, their wages are pretty good too. Number 9, a low cost of living. Idaho has a low cost of living. That is always one of the main drivers when a state is popular. Cost of living and employment are always at the top of people's lists when they're looking for a new place to live. And Idaho is doing really good. Matter of fact, we just did that thing where we kind of show how the cost of living is compared to a $100 bill. Idaho came in 21st on that, and that's one of the states where the value of a $100 bill is better than the national average. Matter of fact, a $100 bill compared to the national average in Idaho is $107.80. That just sort of shows you they have a really low cost of living. Number 8, the great outdoors. Idaho has 6 national parks, reserves, historic sites, and monuments. So those are like the tourist attraction outdoor things. If you're local, you know there's tons of hiking, camping, fishing is insane there. Anything you want to do outdoors is going to be good in Idaho. I mean, maybe not surfing and fishing for marlin, okay? You need the ocean for that. They don't have the ocean. They got plenty of lakes, streams, rivers, anything you need. You want to cast a line out, catch a fish, whatever you want to do, you're going to be able to do it almost anywhere in Idaho. I say almost anywhere because they got a lot of those weird prepper people, think the end of the world's coming. They're like hermits. They live out in the woods. You got to make sure you don't go too deep into the backwoods of Idaho. You don't want to run into those people. They're not right. Number 7, it's safe. Idaho is ranked the 3rd safest state in the nation, right behind Maine and New Hampshire. Nothing goes on in Maine and New Hampshire, so you know you're doing good when those are the only 2 states that beat you in the ranking. Now, if you break it down, they have the 3rd lowest property crime rate in the nation, and their violent crime rate is 10th in the nation. So you're safe, your stuff's safe, it's a great place to be safe in general. You don't have much to worry about walking the streets in Boise or something like that. Boise's one of the safest state capitals in the nation. I mean, they'll never catch up with Montpelier, which is Vermont's state capital. When I'm looking at crime rates and stuff, sometimes I'll go to the city and I'll see what kind of news and what crime is in the news there and stuff like that. And Montpelier, Vermont, they had a guy that was screaming profanity a couple years ago, and this was the 2nd time he'd been told not to at a public park. That was their big headline for their crime beat. But if you want to live in a nice, good, safe state, Idaho is one of your best options. Number 6, environmentally friendly. Idaho is a very environmentally friendly state. It's not just the state, the people are very conscious about their natural environment. Now, normally you wouldn't find this in a red state, which Idaho is very much a Republican red state, but they are very environmentally friendly. They're ranked actually 10th in the nation, which is solid. I guess when you have so many people that love the outdoors, they're doing things outdoors, they're conscious of their environment and they want to take care of it. So if that's your thing, move there. They have very clean water and their air quality is always great. Even in their bigger cities, which like Boise and Idaho Falls, those are big for Idaho, by the way, but the air quality in their bigger cities is great. Number 5, fresh food. Idaho takes pride in their fresh food. They have a lot of farming here. It's big agricultural state, so they have a lot of farming and a lot of the food isn't shipped in from out of state. They grow it right there in Idaho. Per capita, Idaho is one of the lowest consumers of fast food. They're also one of the healthiest states. Depends on the year, but they're always ranking around the top 5, maybe number 4 or number 6, somewhere in there. They're always around there as the healthiest people. They get outdoors, they don't eat a lot of fast food, and their food is fresh. Now, that one seems kind of weird, but you'll see when you get there. It's a thing, and they are very proud of it. Now, when I say proud, you'll go to the restaurants and you'll see, but, are high school kids talking about how fresh the food is? No. And if you're one of the people that think that Idaho only grows potatoes, you're in for a rude awakening. Carrots, beets, mint, onions, dairy products, they got it all. Number 4, you'll get all 4 seasons. Now, to some of you, this doesn't seem like a big deal. I grew up in Southern California, I moved to Oregon, and to get all 4 seasons, including 9 months of rain, the change is nice. If you're from Phoenix area, Tucson, Southern Texas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is nice to get someplace where they actually might have some snow, things like that. It's kind of refreshing when you grow up in a desert state, and this is one thing that people like about Idaho. Their weather does get a little crazy sometimes, but at least you're getting different weather. Like I said, I grew up in Southern California, not too far from the beach. It had never snowed there in my entire life. It's supposed to snow here in Portland, Oregon in a couple days, and we're all excited. That's a big thing for us. And if you do come from a place like Florida or something like that where you really don't get all the seasons, this is a nice, refreshing change. Number 3. It's very much a red state. So if you don't know American politics, you got your red states, which are Republican conservative, and you got your blue states, which are normally Democrat liberal. Now, I'm not talking bad about either party right now. I'm just telling you that this is very much a red state Republican, and they like it that way, and they want to keep it that way. At least the locals do. And they have a lot of problems with Californians moving there that are trying to change their state, things like that. That's an issue for them. But if you are a Republican and a conservative, this is a great state for you. I mean, they'll have all the values, all the things you want are going on here in Idaho. And I know people will leave comments about that because I actually mentioned something about politics. It's part of American life. That's what we do here. We deal with American life and living in America here on this channel, and that's part of it. My opinion is both parties have good and both parties have bad. Which one is worse than the other one? Just depends on where you get your news from and probably how you were raised or where you grew up. That plays a big part of it too. But yeah, each one has their good and each one has their bad. Number 2, it is very gun friendly. Now, this is the one I was talking about where some people will see it as a positive, some people will see it as a negative. I mean, the red versus blue state thing is the same category. Some people think it's great, some people think it's horrible. But Idaho is a very gun friendly state. Whenever you look at, they have different rankings. There's no real way to rank it, but they're always in the top 5 when it comes to gun friendly states. As an example, the percentage of people that own guns there is pretty high. For comparison, the state that has the lowest gun ownership percentage is Massachusetts, with 14.7% of the population owning firearms. Montana being the highest with 66.3. Idaho is 60.1. So they're pretty high. They're number 4 on this list I'm looking at right here. I was looking at that list and I found it very interesting that Oregon is considered one of the most liberal states, and liberals usually don't have guns is what they think. Not in Oregon. They're about 55% of the population own firearms. Vermont's right behind them. That's another incredibly blue state. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There is a link for that below. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, there's no traffic. Idaho has no traffic. You will be hard pressed to find some, even in their bigger cities like Boise. And if, there's 5 cars ahead of you at a stoplight, that's not traffic. If you think you have traffic in Boise or something like that, or Twin Falls, move to San Francisco for 3 days. You'll cry in traffic. That's how bad it is. Los Angeles is even worse. When it comes to traffic, Idaho ranks number 5. Now, I've seen other things where they're ranked number 6 and 7, but I go by the Bureau of Transportation and Statistics, and they have Idaho at number 5. They also rank Idaho as the 3rd best for transportation infrastructure, meaning their rail and their roads are just excellent condition compared to other states. I'm sure someone's gonna leave a comment about some crumbling road they have there. Every state has those. You just have the least amount of them per miles of actual road laid down. I was reading one thing, and most people, their biggest complaint about the traffic is when geese get in the road and they gotta wait for the geese to get out of the way. All right, that's today's list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. If you're thinking about moving to Idaho, it's not a bad thing to think about. It's a great state. All right, everyone, have a great day. Be nice to each other.